Good evening. We can all make our way to our seats at 6:30, and I'd like to call this meeting to order. If you can stand up for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And if we could have a moment of silence for all the fallen firefighters and police officers. You may be seated. Kristen, has roll call been taken?
Yes.
Chief will you start us off with introductions, please, this evening?
Fire Chief Ryan Will.
Scott Sutter, Police Chief.
Ellen Black, City Manager.
Jerry Link, City Council.
Dan Powell, City Council.
Mike Gilmer, City Attorney.
Liz Armstrong, Mayor.
Brad Dick, Mayor Pro Tem.
John Nix, City Council.
Linda Simons, City Councilor.
And I would like to excuse Denise Miller that is absent tonight. So moving on, we will move right into special presentations. Years of service awards for firefighter Bernard, Harold, Red, Skinner, and Chief Will.
Madam Mayor, can I request a short delay for that special guest coming for Brad's presentation?
Absolutely.
So when she arrives, we can, whenever you fit us in.
Thank you, yes, absolutely. All right, we have no public hearings. Correspondence, we had a annual meeting notice from Michigan Municipal League and an email that was received by a resident. So now we will move on to public comments. Can everybody hear me okay? All right. Any person wishing to address the city council during a meeting will get 3 minutes of public comment. When the public comment is approached on the agenda, individuals wishing to speak will be called upon utilizing the filled out comment cards. Remarks should be addressed to the presiding officer. It is not a time for debate, but for questions, comments for council and or staff. Questions will be answered if the information is readily available. If the answers are not available during the meeting, council or staff will contact the individual within 48 hours and respond to the questions within 10 days or whenever the information becomes available. So the first tonight is going to be Marshall Harder.
My name is Marshall Harder. I live at 630 Gamber Lane, Linden, Michigan. I just want to say, I heard that the last time I was here, they discussed about the chicken thing, people who have chickens. Now I heard that they're only going to allow people to have 3 chickens per family. What about if they have a family that has 4 or 5 kids? That's not enough chickens to feed their kids with the eggs. And then they want to have a permit to get chicks, to have their chickens. Are you gonna charge for that permit? What about a person who lives in a city that's got 8 acres of land? And they can only have 3 chickens? The person right next door to them have 4 horses and a mule. Do they have to have a permit? I don't understand why they're doing this, when it's hard enough on people to buy eggs. don't know what else to say, I just think that's, you know, I thought we discussed it, we made a ruling that so many feet per, it had to be a certain size, we're going to have chickens to coop, and the area had to be so far away from the property line. Now you're changing the rules that they have to have a permit, and, you can only have 3 chickens. It's on record, that's all I can say.
Thank you. Judy Preston?
I'm here tonight because we're having issues. It's not just this town, I'm seeing it all over, but in this town lately, scooters are running the people off the sidewalk that are walking. They're running beside our animals and the animals are nipping at them. They're not wearing helmets. There are 2 people on a single scooter. It says 1 person to the scooter. I've been to the store. I've tried to talk to the parents. And they love to give the finger, and I just think there should be some kind of guideline, so we don't have to keep calling the police if we have to, just approach the thing. That's it.
Thank you. Margie? Jenna?
You got it. Well, I happen to live on Franklin Street, and I'm here about the chicken ordinance. Now, I had read that you were making it easier for people to have chickens, and if that's the case, it was a major concern for me. Because I don't live on 8 acres, I live in a small lot, and I really would love to know if any of you who lived by somebody who has chickens who does not follow the ordinance or take care of it. Because the rodent increase, I've lived in my house 38 years, never had the rodent issue like has erupted. And without an ordinance officer, it's pretty much been a lost cause on our street. I have a neighbor, in fact, behind me that, where it has it, they paid over $1,000 just for rodent care to try and rid themselves of the problem. So I really hope, there are those people who want their chickens, but we live in a city and there's small lots, and can we please keep that in mind? There's not an egg shortage anymore. And, if we're going to go with the chickens and more importantly, just overall, are we ever gonna get an ordinance officer again in the city of Linden? Because, gosh, it just seemed to run a lot better when we had one. And that's, I think, is the concern of making it easier to have more chickens running loose. And if any of you have looked into living by someone who has had the chickens that didn't take care of them, if you notice the rodent in population increase. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Monica Lerner?
I'm Monica Larner. I live at 152 West Ralston in Linden. So on June 24, 2022, my husband and I moved to Linden. I am a care partner for my husband, so decisions fall to me, and this was not a decision that was made lightly. Anyone who knows me knows how I am about animals, especially farm animals. Before the move, I gave up my horses and my ducks. After the move, I had to give up my animal protection shelter, which was decided by the city. Just hours, the city planner, just hours after submitting my fence permit, decided that I was to cease all operations. So I went through all the avenues, the lawyers, zoning appeals, planning, city council. So the new verbiage for the ordinance, there's deja vu in that I am about to maybe lose my chickens as well. According to the present ordinance, fowl should not run at large. Yet, for more than a year, the ducks were allowed to run at large. The ordinance states that the police officer in the city is authorized to pick up, take into possession, and impound any fowl running at large in the city. That was not done. The verbiage for adequate space states not less than 25 square feet, but not more than 300 square feet for any number of rabbits or poultry. In my opinion, 25 square feet for any number of poultry is not enough room. And why is there a maximum of 300 square feet? A maximum of 3 chickens are permitted for personal use only. The idea of having chickens is for eggs, and to feed them layer feed is costly. You won't get 3 eggs a day, especially in the winter. I have given eggs to the Losey Center for donating to people in need. I feed my rescue dogs. Yes, I am still a 501c3. Eggs, especially ones that were nutritionally neglected. Since it seems that the lot size named is less than 1 acre, I feel it does not take into consideration the lots where there's more acreage. With having more acreage, the 8 acres, okay, it's me. Why can't I have more than 3 chickens? With my acreage, I can have 3 horses. So that doesn't make sense. If I can have 3 horses, why I can only have 3 chickens? And the permit, what is it, what's the purpose? You know, like the lady was talking about, maybe the permit is good for the rodent, you know, to make sure they're being taken care of. Is it a yearly permit? What's the cost for it? You know, how is that enforced? The city of Fenton has,
Thank you, Mrs. Lerner.
okay.
Thank you. Peter Moss.
Good evening. Peter Moss, President of the Linden Mills Historical Society. On behalf of the entire Linden Mills Historical Society, I would like to invite our mayor and members of the city council, our city manager, and the DPW director to join us on Tuesday, August 12th, mark your calendars, at the Shiawassee Shores main clubhouse as we will celebrate our 50th anniversary. In 1975, it was through the strong support and cooperation of the Den Village Council that we established the society and museum. Since that time, we have had a long and close relationship with the city, and it is my hope this relationship will continue for the next 50 years. I wish to sincerely thank the council for making your museum return to the mill possible. Even though we have lost half of our space, we will attempt to make it a museum we can all be proud of. And hopefully again, we will receive the distinction of best of the best. And at this time, I will pass out the invitations. Unfortunately, I can't invite the whole world as much as anybody want to come, but because we have an agreement with Shiawassee Shores that we can only bring our guests. So all the members here that are getting the invitations are my guests. So don't get me in trouble. Okay, and thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hope you guys will make it.
Thank you.
Ellen? And thank you very much.
Thank you. And then I was asked to read, this one, to whom it may concern. Due to the ordinance of chickens, may I ask how a family is supposed to feed their family with 3 chickens? They don't lay every day or together. What is the real reason for this change? Does this stand for agricultural animals, horses, and so on. Why does this bother you people? Can a family trying to survive be left alone? Have a chicken so that we can eat? Trying to understand why now. Are there people complaining? It must bother someone enough to have to bring this issue up. Thank you for your time, Janine. P.S. Have you seen the price of eggs? We are trying to survive. Help, please. And that was received today, on July 28th, something like this. Are there any other people wishing to public comment? Okay, public comment is closed.
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
our guest is here, so we can, whenever you.
Excellent. Go right ahead, Hugo.
You get to be front and center, Red.
All right. Here. We gather here tonight to honor and celebrate Bernard Harold Skinner, most all of us known as Brad, for his dedicated service to our city for 56 years and counting. Brad joined our department in 1969 and served as firefighter, station captain, and dispatcher throughout his tenure. To use a common phrase, he has seen and done it all, would be an understatement, and he continues to be one of the most dedicated members of our department, with his attendance and participation all hours of the night and day. His heart for serving our community stays strong. I want to thank his family here in attendance for their support throughout all the years. They understand that when the pager goes off for an alarm, he'll be leaving them to help others in their time of need. Unless, of course, he's bowling in one of his 3 bowling leagues. On behalf of our residents, city council, our staff, and myself, I would like to congratulate Red on his milestone and his commitment to our community he serves.
I'd like to say that I have my 2 daughters here, or granddaughters. You have Hannah Randowski, who is a Michigan State police officer, and my other daughter sitting over there. All right. So, thank you.
Sure.
With all your, yeah, everybody back there, sorry.
Back here, up there.
They want to keep back there.
One, two, three.
It's all right.
Madam Mayor, did you want me to start with address? I know that most of the comments we received during the open public comment was for an agenda item. Do you want me to address that during the agenda item? So Chief, do you have any comment on the scooter specifically?
Yeah, I mean, this first complaint from Ms. Preston, that's the only complaint we've ever had. Again, I talked to her before the meeting started actually, and she's more concerned about how they're riding and, like dogs, their dogs, they're walking the dogs get scared and stuff like that. So, and then they've been going on people's lawns and stuff, so I said, in those individual cases, tell your neighbor or yourself, call us. It's a community policing thing, so call us and we'll come out and deal with that particular thing. I think it's dangerous for us to legislate based upon one complaint over the years, but instead address the issue. I think between her and I, we talked it through. I think we're good there.
I think the others all pertain to specific, with the exception of PMAS. Thank you, Pete. We'll try our hardest to be there. And the other ones I think we'll talk about during the discussion item. So, yeah, thank you.
Alright. Moving on to the consent agenda. Do we have a motion to accept the consent agenda?
I'll make a motion that we accept the consent agenda.
Support.
Sorry.
Kristen?
Dick,
Yes.
Hicks,
Yes.
Simons.
Yes.
Link,
Yes.
Armstrong,
Yes.
Howie.
Yes.
We're moving to unfinished business now, ordinance number 421, and ordinance amending chapter 90 animals of the codified ordinances of the city of Linden.
Madam Mayor, as you guys know, we've talked about this. I think this is our third meeting in talking about this, that we had, this has been brought up for us to consider putting something in place to regulate chickens and take into consideration families that wanted to raise them for 4-H and for purposes of having eggs and things like that. I've had some questions in the past couple of weeks in regards to the number. I know specifically Councilor Hicks and Councilor Dick has asked if we could consider increasing from 3 to additional based on lot size. Adam, when he reviewed this, and as you can see in your packet, the memo and things he put together, he was asked to look at surrounding communities, but also best practices and things like that. So he had put up to council what he felt was best practices and looked at other surrounding communities. Again, he said it's completely obviously up to council what they would consider as far as number of chickens and things like that. It sounds like there is quite a bit of discussion that still needs to happen, so happy for us to do that. So we, tonight when we leave here, regardless of what council's decision is, then we can have a better understanding of what changes council would like to see. As far as the permit is really to make sure that the setbacks and the requirements of the ordinance are met. There is no fee that's outlined in the ordinance itself. And it looks like once they've submitted a permit, it doesn't say annual either, that's also in there. I think that to Ms. Gemma's point in regards to the rodents, I think that this is a tough one, right? Because we do live in a city, and we have rules in a city, and we have rules for a reason, which are very different than townships and other rural areas and things like that. So while we do recognize that other people within the city have larger lots and things like that, the good majority of people that are within the city do have smaller lot sizes. So building something in that hopefully addressed something like that, I do think it would be appropriate after hearing some of the feedback and stuff. I think that covers most of the comments that we received, but again, I just wanted to let you guys know kind of where we were at with it, and happy to have a discussion and consideration for council.
Thank you.
Yep.
We will open up, I'll start off with opening up discussion to the residents. So is there anyone that would like to speak any further on the chickens? Sir, if you could come up to the podium, please. Thank you.
My name is Ed Evers, not the 700 each by your name. As far as the chicken issue goes, I really don't understand why all of a sudden it's a big issue when you look look around in the neighborhoods on our surrounding areas, they're there, the chickens are there. I don't know, is it a vendetta against the chicken owners of some kind, or, you know, just let them be. They're chickens, for God's sakes, they ain't hurting nobody. And I don't understand why it's brought up all of a sudden. So, to me, it's not an issue, but somebody's gotta make an issue out of it, I guess, for some kind of reason. So, thank you.
Any further audience? Residents? Okay.
Madam Mayor, and Kristen,
Yes.
I motion that we table this till next month. I can see that there's some fine tuning that needs to be done that we just can't come up with here. To come up with a solid package for the meeting. So I nominate that we table this till August. Postpone.
You can't. If there's any discussion, you don't do that yet, you do it later.
Right.
We're gonna discuss it though, you wanna discuss it, so you don't wanna make a motion yet.
I'll second it.
You made the motion, right? Yeah, I made the
I'll
motion.
second that.
Clarify, when you table an item, it just, you wait till towards the end of the meeting to address it, so to correct it would need to be postponed for the next meeting, just to clarify.
Postpone it. Okay, I used the wrong phrase, I apologize.
I'll second that one too.
Well, and I think the point of clarification, I think that everyone's fine with postponing, but I think before we leave, I would really like for us to have a discussion, so we can understand what changes would need to be made and brought back to you all.
And that's what I'm trying to say, Madam Mayor, motion be made after we have a discussion. We need to discuss it before we make the motion.
Sorry, we couldn't hear.
We're just doing it out of order. Everybody's on the same page, but just wanna
Okay, we're good.
discuss it first.
Thanks.
Brenda?
So, I read through the ordinance and, I know that when we first talked about this was supposed to be a good thing. We wanted to open it up so more people could have chickens. We didn't want to hurt anybody. So, I'm looking at, and I'm also addressing one of the questions that I heard in the audience, something I'm concerned about too, is a minimum lot size. Like, I don't wanna see chickens on a tiny lot where the houses are 20 feet apart. So, do we have a minimum half acre or an acre in size? Just a thought. I'm okay with having more than 3 if, and that's based on the size of the lot, TBD. Annual permit, I agree, having that at no cost. And I think maybe existing chicken keepers should be grandfathered. The ones who exist right now, they still should come in for a permit, they should just let us know what they have. And if it's at no cost, that shouldn't be an issue. And I'd like to know too, how long the permit should last. Should those be yearly? I'm not sure. I think it's nice to, check the box to make sure we know where our chickens are, especially in town. That's all.
Okay, so I just spoke out of turn, I'm sorry. We've had chickens for eons here in Linden. I don't think the size number limit is really a question here. I mean, we've never had a complaint with people having multiple birds. Our ordinance already states they've gotta be closed in case they can't be free running, they've got the setbacks, all that stuff's been there for years, and it's all worked, it has worked for many, many years. I just think that the limit should be raised to zero, you know, whatever they wanna get. Most people aren't gonna get more than what they can handle. Most places, if you order from a hatchery, it's gonna be a dozen. If you order like Tractor Supply and stuff, there's 6 or more. You can't go and buy just 1, 2, or 3, because people will buy nice fuzzy little things for their kids, and they grow up and it's like, oh my God, I can't take care of this thing, they dump it out there. That's what that's designed to take care of. There's no slaughtering, I can understand that, no butcher, that's no problem. There's a place right in Fowlerville, where it's, I think it's still there, that they will take them before you even do it for you. The permit, yeah, that way there gives us a chance to know where they're at. So if you got birds running around, or somebody moves out, then you can say, okay, that person has birds, that's where these birds are coming from. So the permit thing, I don't see that as a big problem.
survey of surrounding communities, and I found that like in Howell, you're allowed six hens. And I forgot to get that, I think it was, might have been an acre, I'm not sure on that, but at least they allowed six. Source Creek allows six, but it has to be an acre size, and I think with our, enclosures, it says right in the changes that, not less than 25 square feet, but, and then not more than 300 for any number of rabbits and poultry. Maybe we wanna increase the upper end and keep the lower end of 25 square feet, and then allow six, like other communities around us. I mean, I know Fenton is 3 chickens per 300 square feet, but we don't, we have a little bit more spaced out lots than Fenton, so we should consider our circumstances. And also, people have larger yards. Anyway, that's all I guess.
Jerry?
Yeah, I think it needs to be addressed. As far as the numbers, I think I agree with Councilor Brenda that it should be based off the lot size. In a case like, say, Monica's, she has 8 acres versus somebody that maybe has a half an acre. So we need to kind of do some research and see, come up with a number, I think, based off of the lot size. And then, the 300 square foot, that's a 10 by 30, that's a barn. That's a pretty big structure for chickens, but I think we need to look at the minimum size, the number of chickens, and base that off of the property size. And then as far as the permit, I think if, we should have a permit so that if somebody requests to have chickens, that we have somebody going out and inspecting to make sure that the coop, the space that they have, it meets the standards, and that also if there's complaints that someone can go out and look to make sure that they're clean, because if you don't clean your chickens, they will attract rodents, so. And not to mention the smell.
The permit that Barry talks about is a zoning permit. It would be just a rough sketch plan to make sure that your coop, would be 50 feet away from the other residences. The only reason this was brought to us is people wanted to make it easier to have chickens, and our current ordinance calls for the coop to be 200 feet away from your house or any other surrounding structure. That eliminates almost all houses in Linden from having chickens. I agree with people that have larger lots should have larger chickens. I was proposing possibly, an additional 3 chickens per acre, so basically 3 chicken per acre, type thing. Up to a limit of a dozen or so, whatever we decide. But put a limit on there, but it gives them space. It's a free range, supposedly free range chicken. Chickens are supposed to have 10 square feet of open space per chicken. So the 25-foot minimum enclosure for 3 chickens is 8 to 10. That's where that's based off of. Then you have to go up wherever you want a chicken you get. The more chickens you have, larger your enclosure would have to be. So these are all things we have to decide. What's the maximum? I mean, even at 50 feet in my neighborhood where I live, I can't have chickens. Nobody in my neighborhood can have chickens. You can't make a 50-foot clearance. So this isn't designed to put chickens into every neighborhood in the city. There's only certain places that it's going to fit. But the people that have the larger lots, shouldn't be penalized.
Brenda, you actually said quite a bit of what I had talked this morning to Ellen about, in regards to, the chicken ordinance. And I guess I would like to have a moment, once we have now seen this language, to go look at other municipalities that are similar in structure to us, as far as our land plot sizes and the city dynamic. You can't compare us to Benton Township, we're not at all like Benton Township. So I would like a minute to go look at those, and then
be able to bring that back to Ellen with my thoughts on it. And so, maybe an email scenario, Ellen, can we do that, email you?
Sure, absolutely.
And then can we
and-
bring it back, is it possible to bring it back if needed to the work session in August? Cause this, I don't know that this is something we should jump into lightly. I think it needs multiple possibly conversations.
Yeah, I think at this point, I would recommend that it come back to the work session before it's adopted, but also for point of clarification. So when Adam submitted his first memo, he did reference communities, City of Fenton, he didn't look at Fenton Township, he looked at City of Fenton and Chelsea. I think Brighton, Tom, because you had suggested Brighton, there was other similar, so he did look at that when developing the ordinance. And so I think that he's done a significant amount of work, and if we can, maybe pick his brain a little bit and have that information back at, the next meeting, I think we could probably come up with something that you all feel comfortable with and, allows, individuals to have, an amount of chickens that are, consistent with the size lot and things like that, so.
If I may, we've had a couple complaints of chickens we're complaint based, so and in one particular situation, under the current ordinance, they didn't have enough room. But with this new ordinance, they would, and I mean, they were really bummed, they had to take it down, and, I felt bad. And this, what you're proposing would have allowed them to. So.
It's good.
Madam Mayor, can I just do one, I have a clarifying question. In item A, in the ordinance, it does say, third line down, within the confines of said yard, pen, shelter, or building. So yard, are we talking in there, are we talking about an enclosed yard, a fenced in yard? Or are we talking about like a chicken yard, the feet in which the, chickens can reside? Right, because if you're going to have them in a fenced-in yard, if that literally means yard, then you're gonna have them come by the houses. So I just wondered what that really meant, or maybe that word should be taken out. So it says, any person being owner and possession of or in control of any horse, cow, goat, rabbit, poultry, or any other domesticated farm animal or bird shall provide and maintain a yard, pen, shelter, or building. So we're saying either or, yard, pen, shelter, or building. And then we go on to say, for such confinement of said animals and poultry, and shall keep such within the confines of said yard, pen, shelter, or building. So we're not suggesting in that paragraph that we can let them run free, right, in the yard?
If it's fenced, then they could, potentially.
And it's a farm term.
Yeah.
When they say yard, they just mean an
The
open
chicken yard.
yard for the chicken, yeah. It doesn't mean your front yard or your backyard of the house would be a separate
Yeah,
yard.
I understand, I just don't want it to be misinterpreted by people. Because then chickens, if they're running, like if I had chickens and they were 50 feet from my house, and they could come up in my backyard, they would be less than 50 feet from my neighbor. So I just wanna make sure we don't have any tricky, verbiage in here that would, cause an issue or misunderstanding.
Madam Mayor, I think that's covered under separation of yards and fence, and except for separation, distance shall not be less than 50 feet from the keeping of chickens. Shall not be less, so it's covered.
So, well, that's my, kind of my issue.
It also states that they cannot be free run, they have to be in a pen no bigger than 300 square feet.
Okay, I may have missed that.
Yeah, so
Okay.
that would be your outside.
Okay.
I run a 10 by 10, so I got 100 square feet.
Yeah.
Your chicken coop, if you don't mind me also clarifying chicken coops 25 square feet. A chicken coop, if you look at it, is not like a granite structure.
No.
It's tall. So your birds are at different levels on roost. Okay, so the 25 square feet should actually be cubic feet, because they're not on one level. They're multiple levels, so now at that point in turn, you can have more birds cohabiting and being very comfortable and very safe and very clean.
Okay. So for all intents and purposes, I'll take what Brad said and understand that yard is a farming term, and that we've already covered it further down in the ordinance, to make sure that those chickens are on free range.
I think,
Now you can move
Now
on.
you can.
You got a motion, so yeah, you.
Oh, we go back.
I would like to make a motion that we postpone this until August, so we can do more research and come up with a better wording and plan to make this more agreeable for everyone.
Support.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. All right. We are moving on to our discussion. I don't want to slaughter your name, sir.
Quit is the last.
Okay, that was what I was gonna go with, but I wasn't sure, and I'm looking. I'm thinking, this might not be right.
No. It's, some people look at it and they're like, is it some wet ground sounds? Yes, it is.
Okay.
So,
Thank you.
so my name's Brett with, Priorities. I know that there had been a couple of issues, that had happened, within the city of Linden. One of the major ones was the cart delivery. We have taken care of the cart delivery issues that had taken place. Ellen has been great for me. She sent me text messages and emails for everything that needs to be handled.
Can you give me just a minute, please? Not to be rude, but if you would like to have a conversation, if you could go outside so that we can hear our speaker, I would appreciate it. Sorry. Thank you so much. All right, go ahead, sir.
All right, yeah, so Ellen has been great. She sent me a couple of different places where they had needed cart deliveries. Unfortunately, we did have an inventory issue. Once that has been rectified, we did make the deliveries. Mona is extremely happy because we didn't even take her old cart. We just left it there, so, you know, she has an extra one, so that's fine. For her. Then another issue was construction off of, what was it, Rolston, I believe, road. And we weren't getting there early enough. Now we were, when I say early enough, we weren't getting there directly at 7 AM in terms of the noise ordinances to let us by. We have since rectified the situation. As far as I know, Tom, you're on that road and everything's been good. You said that, hey, we picked you up before you even left the house. So we have rectified, and we have worked very hard with that, in terms of getting everything situated. We did have some mechanical issues, which is now also been rectified. Any questions, anything that they would like to address?
I'm gonna open it up first to the residents. Does anyone in the residents have any questions about priority waste service? Okay, Mrs. Lardner?
So, I've had ongoing, and not just because of the construction, I live on West Ralston. And before the construction, I made numerous phone calls to your company. And, after the construction started, it was worse.
Okay.
You know, my recycle has stayed out there for 10 days. You know, it's just been, and I can't just say it was during the construction period, it was before that.
Okay.
First off, the time that I put out, 2 bins, only 1 bin was emptied. So I call and they say, well, you can't have 2 bins. Well, obviously I have 2 bins from the previous company. And I have, living quarters that sometimes is used and sometimes not, so that's why I have 2 bins, but I shouldn't have been told, well, you can't have 2 bins. You know, that started out the whole
Yeah.
mess.
And you've always had 2 bins with the previous company, you said you always
Yes,
had 2 bins, okay?
yes. Two trash, 2 recycles,
Okay.
and I have multiple composts.
Okay. So what is your exact address?
152 West Ralston,
Okay.
and one of my composts is still sitting out there.
Okay. I will address that with our operations team as soon as I get out of here.
That part probably wasn't all their fault on that last one, because when they came through with the landscaping, I think they moved it. That
Okay.
could have been what happened, but I'm not for sure.
Okay.
But it's still there.
I'll address the address with our operations team.
Yeah, we had a conversation, about a month or so ago. And, you know, the things that I had brought up at that point is, right now you guys have an image problem. One of the complaints I heard is truck picks up the garbage, a box falls out and nothing happens. You know, we addressed that with you. You said you talked to the drivers and get that taken care of. Also the swapping out of cans, to make it easier. And again, you, identified that and addressed that within your
General manager.
yeah, the general manager, but whoever handles the swap out, he had a acronym or something. But anyhow, you know, the Ralston Road, I also live on Ralston Road. There was some problems at the beginning, but I think after the initial, it's been better.
Yeah.
So, I appreciate that. My concern is, I don't really, the past isn't as important as how are you guys gonna respond moving forward? And that's what's gonna be the important thing. What's happened has happened, but let's make this work for the future. I appreciate your response and you showing up to come here to show that you guys do care.
Yeah, and since we've spoken, does it seem like everything has gotten, a little bit better?
I expect some variations on my roads just because of the construction. I know one of the points that we brought up is, you know, the timing, whether it's 7 in the morning or 2 in the afternoon. Try to make it as consistent as possible. That makes it much easier on the residents.
Yeah.
But, from what I've seen on my road, yes, and I haven't heard any additional complaints.
I appreciate that.
It's been good on Bridge Street too. My neighbors and hers has been good. Oh, sorry.
Good, thank you. All right, Pam?
In the beginning, we had a few issues with like the yard waste being picked up and all, but, I did not notice anything. In fact, I noticed that you come earlier, which is good.
Yeah, so
And you were
that's.
quick to respond to the others, but so I think that they haven't noticed any problems recently.
Yeah, so that's another thing that I did address with our general manager and LDC, Jersey for logistic driver permit. That's something that I did address with them and they, you know, made it imperative that this needs to happen. And if for whatever reason, we don't foresee it getting done, due to whatever reason, we need to let people know sooner. And I think that that's something that we did lack. If, you know, when the early season started, we had a lot of trucks that went down. I feel like we did not let people know sooner. Because you have social media pages, you have emails, you have a webpage, you have everything that you need to let people know. But I felt like that we did lack on that, and that's what I've worked very hard to make sure that we're getting better.
Brad?
I think everybody's covered everything. I mean, it has been getting better, so we'll just continue. Hoping you continue to improve.
Well, I can't hold anything against you because I don't have a road. I can't get up and down it myself right now. But I did send you an email, or a text, I hope you got it, that
I did.
they don't shut the road down until 7:30.
Yeah.
And usually by the time they leave, whatever they've tore up, they've laid back down, so
Yeah.
they get through.
And that's that carefulness that we have to be about, right? Because you have noise ordinances and we don't wanna make any, so we've been kind of careful with structuring everything around that.
So that's, you know, they have conveyed to us, the citizens on the road, that especially now they're in the chokehold part, that there's no way you can get a vehicle around. So when they dig it up, they dig it all up at one time and then lay it back down. So when they leave in the late afternoon or early evening, we can transfer something. So that's why I was hoping you got that text.
When's the construction gonna be done?
No, I'm not sure.
I tried, okay, I tried.
So, but no, I have, even with the road being torn up, I've seen it, so.
I really appreciate that.
Yeah.
Oh, great, thank you. I got excited before, sorry about that. Yeah, it's been better on, Bridge Street. We don't have any complaints. I I did see one of the guys jump out of the truck and pick up some garbage that fell out of the can across the street, so, that's good news. I think the message is coming through loud and clear. Thanks.
So I wanna start off with telling you, I appreciate, you and I had a conversation as well. And I appreciate the fact that you took accountability for the things that had been lacking. And you have been trying to work on correcting the problem. So I do wanna appreciate that, or you tell you, I appreciate that. Okay? Now, with that being said, my expectation, for the residents, they are paying for a service, so my expectation is that y'all are going to adhere and follow the contract, as well as the verbal commitments that you made in here. And, for the better part and the better good of every citizen in the city. We had a rocky start, and so I am, looking forward to things improving. But I do appreciate very much the fact that you were willing to come in here and you've been willing to speak with us, and that does go a long way, so thank you.
I appreciate everyone.
Is there anyone else? Any other questions? All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I appreciate it. All right, city managers update.
Just a couple of things, you guys had received my updates over the past couple of weeks when I was on vacation. The mill pond treatment, they're gonna be doing again this week. And there is some confusion, I know that we've had some complaints, I think Madam Mayor, you've received some, that, the treatment is to take care of invasive species, it's not to do a complete kill of weeds within the mill pond, right? So, by killing the invasive species, it's going to allow those other native plants to be able to grow. If they did a complete grow, then you would have a fish kill as well, and that's not something that we wanna do. So just for clarification, it is not complete total weed control in the mill pond, it's for invasive species specifically. After talking with Aquatic Nuisance, they do feel that the treatment that they have been doing has been, successful. And a lot of the residents within the mill pond have been happy with the treatment and things like that. They get notice out. Their process is very weather dependent. So they have sometimes some short windows to turn that time frame around of when they can get out and treat. And so they post accordingly. They have to also answer to the state of Michigan for their processes as well. So it's a very strict guideline that they have to follow. And from what we are seeing, they have been following that. We did get it on our Facebook today, I think, as well. So just to clarify, help clarify that. So, this Thursday at 9:30 a.m., the new county building, they're doing a ribbon cutting. The county, for any of you guys that have been downtown at any of the county, where the county commissioners meet, is moving to 324 South Saginaw Street in downtown. They're doing a ribbon cutting. They've invited us all there if you guys would like to attend. Looking forward to that. Obviously, we have our Lou session on Thursday. Hopefully within my last email, I was able to clarify, Lou is looking forward to a good conversation. Like I said, he's coming from a point of team effectiveness and team, more of a team aspect, not necessarily teaching each individual person on their roles as a counselor, but more as a team. If you guys have anything specific, just let me know, but we'll have that Thursday evening. And then I will let John, not to put him on the spot, sorry, but maybe give just a really quick update on Ralston and Linden.
Lindenwood is, the end is near for the most part. The contractor, I'll send out an update this week yet. The landscaping contractor is working on finalizing some deficiencies in the initial repairs. The initial repairs were basically last year in the fall, just to serve as to have holdover in place over the winter, and a lot of that turned out to be weedy. So the contractor has been put on notice that they will probably have to return sometime in the late summer, early fall, and apply weed control so that they can get the lawns to an acceptable level. They understand that. They have been working to take care of the areas that were low or where there was not proper coverage. So they've been doing that over the last couple of weeks, and they're hoping to come back this week, from what I understand, and try to wrap up the remainder of those. Also, the engineering firm is looking at, options to provide some relief to, the drive entrances for the new mountable curb section on Lindenwood. So we'll have more to come on that as soon as we have a solution. It's probably gonna involve a horizontal cut and then a re-pour of the approach for some of the residents along Lindenwood, so stay tuned on that. As far as West Ralston goes, the majority of the of the really hard stuff is done, so the underground work is almost concluded. Matter of fact, they may have finished it up today as far as the stone base and the edge drain. That should be in. Now the contractor's gonna be coming back. There was some additional curb that we had marked and is being taken out currently to be replaced, so the concrete contractor's coming back about midweek to start replacing those curb sections. And the landscaping contractor in that area will continue to work in the areas where there'll be no additional damage behind the curb. So that's progressing basically from North Bridge out to the west as well. And then after that, they'll level things out and asphalt contractor will come in, and that part of the work should progress pretty quickly once they get going. So I think the end is near. They asked, I don't wanna commit to a timeline just yet, but I think, you know, in the next 30, 45 days for sure, it'll be wrapping up.
And just really quick, in regards to the garbage, please, if you know of anybody that's having issues, let our office know, direct them to priority and direct them to our office. If they're not getting a response from priority, please let us know, because we will help to try to expedite that. In every situation that we have been involved in, and I guess Kristen, correct me if I'm wrong, they have remedied, the situations. You know, maybe not as quickly as we would like, but, we talked to him as recent as last week. I know we had a problem in Grant Circle and one other, but they were very responsive and trying to let us know and communicate what was going on and stuff. So it's important to use those proper channels, and that way we can, one, keep track of it, and keep a record of it. So if there is ever any future issues, then we have that on record and things, and we can help expedite that for residents. I just wanted to make sure.
Thank you.
May I ask another quick question? Okay, Don, I have a quick question on, the graffiti. Has that been increasing around the city? Cause when I was at karaoke, and on the stage, I noticed that it looked like a scooter mark across the stage. So I wondered, and I saw your report on the graffiti in Eagles Woods Park. Is that increasing?
You know, I do feel like we've had a slight increase. We have addressed it at several different locations. I don't think we're at a point where we really need to be concerned about it. A lot of times it's the same individuals, but we'll monitor it and try to stay ahead of it so that it doesn't invite more.
And to answer that question as well, the one at the bathroom, it was an initiative, it was self-initiated by one of my officers that caught them. And of course, it's been handled, so we keep an eye on it. It's kids.
Yeah.
It's kids being stupid, bored. As I'm just being honest, you know? So.
Hey, John, I got this question for you. They're dug up and backfilled the base all the way to where the blacktop used to stop. It doesn't look like they proceeded forward all the way to the city limits. As you said, you thought they had done the digging, they have not done where the blacktop initially ended.
Okay, they do need to go to the city.
So they will be doing this.
They do, yeah.
Okay.
They certainly understand that.
Okay, it just kind of looked like they had stopped it, blended it, and wait a minute.
No,
It's,
okay. Let me move it on.
thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Don, one question one of the residents asked, as far as the culverts and the drainage, I mean, if they're in good condition, obviously there's no reason to replace them, but are those getting replaced?
So we have one resident where, we were told a fire truck at some point crushed the end of it. That one's being addressed. And then I had one additional one, today that's, it's actually not a residential drive. It's a culvert that's draining from the north side of the road to the south side of the road. And we're just gonna clean out the ends of that. Culvert doesn't need to be replaced. There's just some silt and grading that needs to take place.
All right, thank you.
And then I actually have one quick one. I wanna thank you. You worked with a business owner, and that I believe was completed today. And I wanna thank you for the care that you utilized in helping him out. I wanted to give you props for that right here.
It takes longer than we want sometimes, but, you know, we'd like to think we get there.
Yes. And then one other quick question. It's like a two-parter, actually. So are any of the curbing, because I know when the residents had come in, there were certain people that had discussed curbing. Are any of those curb pieces getting relooked at that's not a mountable driveway? In Linden,
Say the last part again?
that's not a mountable driveway, so not including the mountable driveways, which you did say that those are getting looked at.
Right.
Are any of the other pieces
There's
of
no,
curbing getting looked at?
yeah, there's no additional full curb and gutter replacement scheduled. There's a couple that we're gonna look at where the back side of the curb might be able to be ground so that they're even.
Okay.
But there's no additional ones at this time that are scheduled.
Okay, and that Linda would, okay, thank you. All right. Anything else? All right, do you see the?
I don't.
Okay. All right. So, we have received the department reports for the police department, code enforcement, fire department, Department of Public Works, and senior services. Does any, do you guys, the two of you here have anything else you need to add, or are you good? Perfect.
I guess I do.
Okay.
Back to school bash is this Sunday at, middle school, Center of Hope, and several different organizations are doing it. 550 kids, being taken care of with clothing, backpacks. It's an amazing, production. So, you should just go by and check it out. It's really cool. See our community coming together.
And is there a link, to be able to volunteer? Last year there was. I haven't seen
I
that.
don't know. I mean, Center of Hope, I would contact them. You know, I know some of the groups I'm involved with are helping out, so yeah, they have but I know they have a QR code, but I think that's for, signing up for the thing, so, but yeah, it's a great event.
Yeah.
It's good to see. I mean, and I'm telling you, a lot of these families need these. It's not, you know, people aren't trying to take advantage of the situation. They are in need, desperate need for this. And so I'm just so glad our community comes together and does this kind of stuff.
I agree. Thank you. All right, so we're going to go now to council comment. Brenda, I'll start with you tonight.
Good question. Is there a place to donate for the vaccine?
Center of Hope.
Center of Hope.
Yep, go to their website.
Okay, very good, will do. Yeah, just a couple things. So relative to Southern Lakes Parks and Rec, their 25th anniversary celebration is the 14th of August, 5 to 8:30. That should be a lot of fun. It's a lot of family things going on that night. They'll share their annual report soon. They have a car show going on, sponsored by the Hot Rock Club and the Kenton Freedom Center, August 7th, 3 to 8. The art walk was this past Saturday. I heard really good things about that. And they always have their farmers market on Thursday, 5 to 8. The reason I'm mentioning this is because it's Southern Lakes Parks and Rec. It's not just Kenton events. It's, you know, they support us as well. But I want to make you aware of these. And also the Southern Lakes Parks and Rec brochure, if you have the chance to go look at it, there's a really cool article that Ed Cleo wrote. And it's about finding hidden gems, parks, trails, history, and conservation information for our county. So that's a really neat brochure. It's available at their website. And the last thing I wanted to address is speeding on North Bridge Street. Can we move the mobile sign down by the railroad tracks?
Yeah,
They're just going crazy coming,
okay.
barreling down North Bridge, especially in rush hour.
Okay, yeah, we can, I think it's gonna be moved, where it's at right now, in another week, then we can move it again.
Okay.
It is scheduled, and
Good.
so we try to
Thank you.
keep it around, so.
It's bad. You can't even cross the street that time of day especially.
Okay.
But when they're going faster, there's just no way you can get across. Also, I wanted to say, I see the new sign is going up on the other side of town by the high school, the new Linden sign. Do you know when that'll be finished?
I don't, that's not something that we're involved in, it's a Kiwanis.
Okay.
It's Lions.
Okay.
Yeah, that was their sign that they had put out there for the city.
Okay, thank you. That's it.
One quickie. The river roast, I had people in from out of town, so I couldn't go enjoy it, but we sat there on my back deck and watched the fireworks.
Yeah.
What a nice place. It was nice, it was timed, it ran about almost 20 minutes, I think. So it was nice to see, so I gotta keep up the good work. Thank you.
Jerry?
I'm good, I have no comments at this time.
Pam?
This Thursday is a Parks and Rec meeting, at the Losi Center here at 6 o'clock. We're looking for ideas, and we're gonna work on getting our events, more, marketed better. I had just a quick question or Scott, about the scooter marks on the gazebo. I just thought that was kind of not so good. Also, I called Officer Wilburn, and it was July 12th, Saturday, and talked to him about 3 kids on scooters going down Bridge Street, no helmets, and they were not at the curb, they were in the road on Bridge Street at 11:30 in the morning.
They can ride the road though,
Yes.
just as they have to follow the rules of the road as bicycles do. too,
Right,
but yeah.
there's a lot of traffic, and they were, it seemed going way too fast for no helmets and no safety gear. Anyway, I wanted to talk about deer baiting for the state of Michigan. There is no baiting allowed in the state of Michigan. You can't scatter corn on your yard, and unfortunately, I know I have noticed people doing it, and the thing about it is, people say, well, why can't we bait? And I'll tell you, right now, we're in a dangerous situation with so many deer and an increase in the population statewide and city of Linden, that there's a bunch of different diseases that are coming in. There's chronic wasting disease, there's tuberculosis that's been found in a couple counties over and the edge of Shiawassee County. And if you bait and feed deer, and you bring them close together so they're more nose to nose and they're breathing in each other's airspace, they will spread those germs, and we will see a population crash as a result. So don't bait. If you like the animals, you love them, I love them too, don't feed them.
On that issue too, if there is baiting, please contact us, we'll go out there and check it out, I know people have.
Thank you, Scott, that's awesome. Another thing about, this fall, or we're coming up towards fall, and I think people need to know, if you're disposing of your yard waste, do so properly with priority waste in yard compost bags. Please don't take your plants, and dump them out in the woods, especially your aquarium types plants, because that Japanese yard grass that's in the aquariums will spread like wildfire through it just spreads like crazy through our systems, because there's no known, animals or bugs that prey upon it. And point in case, I found in our woodlot an invasive species, and I know you're working on it, Don, but I just wanna bring it up, and I think we should put something on our webpage that said, please dispose of your yard waste properly through priority waste. Do not dump it in the woods, the streams, because if that stuff, that Japanese, or those aquarium grasses got into the mill pond, we could probably hardly contain it. There's no known natural enemies for a lot of that stuff that comes from overseas. That's it.
Right.
Glad you looked at fireworks.
Oh, the fireworks were great.
They were great. Thank you to all that helped out with River Roast. It was a big success. Weather kept the crowd down on Saturday, but that's okay. Takes a lot of people to make it all work. We had a Boy Scout breakfast on Saturday morning, first time ever. Scouts raised almost $1,000, so it was nice. People came out, like everybody had a good time. Thank you all. Now, remember, December, the parade, you guys are all ready for that, right? Second up now. No, we're not doing that, so I was getting that. Wrong parade.
Ready to go.
Perfect. Thank you all.
Thank you. So I would like to thank all those that participated with River Rose happening in Linden and all the other organizations, because I know it took a lot of organizations. I also want to thank the American Legion. I went out, it was my birthday, I went out and Rosie the Riveter, and it was very, very cool to have that piece of history here in Linden, for my children to be able to, hear the history. So I do want to thank American Legion for bringing them in. Senator, you took the other one that I was going to talk about, so thank you, I appreciate it. Saved me words. All right. With that, we have no closed session, so I'm going to call the meeting to order at 7:40. Oh, no, we need a motion.